In a moment, we're about to get real with Real. My name is Jim Klauck, and welcome to the Beach Money Podcast. Real Andrews, how are you?
I am great, Jim. How are you doing?
I am living the dream, living my beach money life. How about you?
The same. It's like it's early, but it's not. I get up every morning at about 2:30, and it always amazes me, Jim, when especially at 2:30. Well, I get to the gym about 4, but so I don't really see any other people before 4. But it always amazes me, even at this time of the day, when I see somebody and I like, hey, how are you doing? And they're like, oh, I'm okay. I'm
Mm.
like, okay. Like where do you have to go from there? I just pray for them because it's like, even when you just the fact that I open my eyes and like God blessed us with another day on this earth. I'm like better than okay. I'm like really grateful and let's go. And how can I do this day with excellence is my mindset.
Yes, Real, it seems as though you've taken charge of your life and you direct your life. Many people are pulled through life. They are directed by society, they're directed by their job, their boss, maybe their spouse, and they're fumbling through life. Uh, you obviously don't. You help a lot of people as well. Tell me and the audience a little bit about how you live your beach money life every day in a positive way and how you take that positivity forward to help others.
Hey man, that's good, Jim. Yeah. That was really good analogy that you used. People are fumbling and
Mm.
getting, because I'll take you back to where it all started because I fumbled, Jim, through life for a long time, for a good part of my life too, as well. And the shift for me, Jim, was for a big part of my life going into my late 20s. I was petrified of death. Like I couldn't sleep on my back. You would never put a sheet over my head. I wouldn't walk on the same side of the street where there were funeral homes, or never went to a funeral. I mean, I was like it was really a fear, a
Mm.
big fear of mine. And it wasn't till I found God and then things started changing. But I remember I had a girlfriend, and I want to say I was in my 30s, early 30s, and her grandfather passed away. He was 88 years old. Yeah. And she asked me if I would accompany her to the funeral. And I said, inside, I said, well, I guess it's time I put my big boy panties on and face this fear. And I said, yes. Now, up until then, any funeral I'd ever been to was on TV or in
Mm.
a movie because I'd never been in person. So, as you can imagine, in the funerals we see on TV, there's a lot of people, there's laughing, there's crying, they're saying great things about this person, hopefully, um, you know, and that's what I was expecting. And here I am on the top of Forest Lawn here in LA. And it was a mind shifting moment for me because what happened? We're on the top of this hill on Forest Lawn. There's me, my girlfriend, her mom, her dad, the sister, the grandmother, and the pastor. That's it.
Oh. Mm.
And I'm like, time literally stopped. I don't know if you've ever had one of those moments, Jim, where it was literally, I could hear the pastor speaking. I could hear them sobbing and stuff in the background, but it was literally spinning like this. It was spinning. And what happened right there at that moment for me was two things. One was I said, I do not want to go through life for 88 years and make such a little difference that nobody comes to my funeral. I said, that's not going to happen. And the other side of the coin, where God gave me my first calling, was I realized at that moment that 99% of people are like that champion grandfather. They go through life thinking they have no purpose. They don't matter. They clock in, They clock out. They're usually miserable about what they do and they're not happy. And I said, at that moment, I came up with the saying, or God gave me the saying, I will believe in you till you believe in yourself. And that's one of my mantras. And that was the start that I realized that I was called to help others realize that they are important. They do matter. You don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be a superstar. You don't have to be a beach money entrepreneur. If you're on this earth and you have a heartbeat and you're living, you're important. You matter. My pastor said it best. Jesus doesn't need any more preachers. He needs us, you champion, to step up, to take action and share your freaking story because your story is important. And so that's what I do. I'm, I know through gratitude, I'm sober now. This past Christmas, it will be 5 years.
Mm.
And it was in sobriety, Jim, that I learned this word called gratitude.
Yeah.
I honestly never heard of it before. I didn't even know what it was.
Oh.
I certainly wasn't. So I live in gratitude, on all levels, not just big levels. The little levels are more important. And, I'm just, here to help people to walk in their power and realize, because it's really sad, dude. It's really, really sad in how people want to live in a victim. And you know Jordan's story, if you watch his podcast, you know, I like to say, Jim, one of my newest things is, Jim, what people love to, and this is a challenge. We all do it. Jordan's done it. I've done it. We've all done it. Me and Jordan have talked about this, but Jordan has flipped as well as I have. We all want to share our highlight reels.
Mm-hmm.
We all want to share our successes, but we don't want to share our real life reels is what I'm called. And I say we need to do more of sharing our real life reels, because what happens, people look at champions like Jordan, they look at champions like me, and they get fired up. They get excited, they get inspired, and then they go back to their little shell at home and they go, that's not me. I could never do it because my life is this and I have this challenge and I suck. So they need to know that, you know what? My life is this. My life sucks. I have challenges. I fight. I like to tell people, like, you know what? When you see me, Jim, like I said, yeah, I'm fired up. I'm happy. I'm excited. But let me tell you something. Every freaking day is a battle for me. I struggle with depression. I struggle with anxiety. I struggle with all those things, but I've realized that I've got a choice to fight or flight. And I just choose to fight every day and take action. And I help people to do the same.
Real, I love that. We're all the same, right? You talked about funerals and death. We're all going to die one day. So we're all born. We all have so much time before we expire. And a lot of us don't believe we can live a fulfilled life, a rich life, not just financially, just a rich life with friendships and low anxiety, maybe, and freedom, not having to work all the time. I mean, it's amazing. People think, okay, after high school or college, I don't have to study anymore. I don't have to learn. I just have to go work, because that's kind of what our society pretty much tells us. After 12th grade and after your 4 years of college or whatever you do, you don't have to study unless you're in a specialized field. And then you work for the next 40 some odd years. And then you might be able to go on that Alaskan cruise before you die. Mm-hmm. That's a crazy life. That is not a beach money type life. And when I talk to people all the time. I do a lot of podcasts. I talk to great people like you, Real. And it's just amazing to me that most people think that a beach money life is for someone else who's special, kind of like they're royalty. They were born into it, or they're just special. It's like that NFL quarterback. They're special. They may be special to an extent, but they also worked really hard and they're very, very conscious of where they are and where they want to go. And if we all have goals and we take it piece by piece, bite by bite, we can live an outstanding life.
Yeah, 100%. You said it so well. And I love that you included, the royalty side of it, because there are a few. that are born in it. Very few. But I wonder, I don't know, because I really don't know that life. I've seen from the outside, and I know what we see from the outside is not never what is really happening in the inside. But I've heard it's not even as luxurious as it seems, from that. But the people, like I'm 61 years old. I've met a lot of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, even 10-figure income earners.
Mm.
And you know what? We all know the saying, success leaves trails.
Yes.
I look for success trails. I look for common denominators. And I have not, and I don't know, you might agree with me, Jim. You've interviewed a lot. If you're doing podcasts with Jordan, I know you've interviewed a lot of these people. But I personally have not met one person in those categories who comes from a silver spoon life. Every single one of them has a story that's tragic. That they were that like is it's just, but the difference is they took action. They didn't want to be a victim. Something happened at some point in their life, and they said enough is enough. And it's like you say, they're not. And and recently I changed because I love what you said. People get out of high school and we think we have to stop. We don't have to learn. No, we got to learn till we die, because I'm always learning. I'm always getting better. I always keep an open mind. That's why I've had the success, because even, but, the what people, when you're always learning and you're always growing, is I just learned one of the things I changed, because I always used to say this to people, right? Hey, I'm a guy from a small town, North Vancouver, BC. I'm an only child. I come from the other side of the track. Here's my shoes right here, Jim. I ran barefoot till I was in grade 7. These are my first pair of spikes that my mom got me. You can see they got freaking grass spikes on them. That's how old they are. I actually my dream was to make the 84 Olympics. I got this tracksuit right here that I keep as reminders right here. This, because my mom, we didn't have any money. So my mom handmade these tracksuits so her son could be cool like the other kids, not be called out. My nickname was Black Magic back then, but so I always used to say, hey, if this kid from a small town, an only child can make it, so could you. But I realized I was doing them a disservice, because I left out a very important factor. And I say this now. Yes, if Jordan can do it, you can do it. Yes, if I can do it, you can do it. If you're not afraid of hard work, if you're ready to be committed, if you're ready to be all in, because it's hard work. It's real hard, and it's a struggle, and it's a challenge. But listen, the rewards are worth it, much better than just not taking action and being a victim and saying, there's a reason. I do a lot of coaching from stage, Jim, and I love to open like this. And I say this every time. I say 99% of success, riches, fames, good marriages, relationships, whatever that looks like for you, is enjoyed by 1% of the population.
Yeah.
And I say this to the audience that I'm about to train to. I say, how many of you'd like to be part of that 1%? Mm-hmm. And of course, they all go, me, 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 me. And I said, well, at the end of my presentation, I'm going to give you the secret. I'm going to give you the key to success. And they're all like, oh, yeah, I came to the right place. Today is the day. I'm going to get the secret. Right. And at the end of my presentation, I go, I promised you guys I was going to tell you how you could be that 1%. And I said, are you ready? And they all, oh, yeah, I'm ready. They get their journals and they get ready and they start to write. I said, are you ready? Here it comes. Take action.
Yes.
What? And then they look at you like you're stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. So many people have these ideas, these product or service ideas, entrepreneurial ideas, and they don't act on them. And then they'll see that same product or service advertised somewhere, and they'll be like, I had that idea 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I've even done that, where I'm like, I had an idea just like that, and I didn't act on it, but I knew I didn't. And I know if I don't act on it, it won't happen, right? It just won't happen. You brought up something interesting about people born with, a silver spoon, um, people who created a lot, and it's very interesting. And I want your point of view on this, Real. And that is this: if you look at some of the greats, the Elon Musk who stands out, the Steve Jobs who stood out, they all come from challenging backgrounds and different backgrounds. These people didn't go to Harvard. Well, actually, some did and dropped out, like Bill Gates and Zuckerberg. But many of these people are very different. Okay, they're not what you'd consider normal, and those are the ones, for whatever reason, tend to be at the top. So someone says, "Well, you got to go to college, you got to get your MBA, a PhD wouldn't hurt, and then you'll be successful." It depends what you consider success, but most of these people never either went to college or graduated from college, and they're very different people. Some of them don't even fit into society well. Like Elon Musk, he'll even tell you in an interview that you don't want to be me. I'm kind of like sick and strange and different, and all he does is work, 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 and push, push, push. But I think most of his success is from the action, is from the pushing hard. What are your thoughts?
100%, 100%. They're not. It's interesting you say you don't want to be me, because it's almost like I get him. I see what he's doing. I see what he's saying. He's challenging people to step up into their greatness, because he's doing what I've just started doing. He's letting people know this ain't easy, dude. You don't want to be me. You don't want to be. You do want to be me, but you don't want to be me. And if you want to the book that I just launched or dropped is, one of the things that came in it, and it's like my underline say, for me, where I come from, I said, Jesus didn't die so we could be safe. He died so we could be dangerous, and are you ready to be dangerous? And most people are not ready to be dangerous.
No.
Because
No.
to have your victory, and you don't have to be a believer like me, or you can believe in whatever you want to be. But I'm here to tell you, champions, if you don't think it is a freaking war in whatever you decide to do, you're kidding yourself. Because whether you believe in God or you believe in positivity and negativity, or you believe in this or that, that is a Super Bowl game every single day. There's a winner and a loser. And to win, you need to fight, and you need to be, I'll put it to you, champions, in two ways: for the spiritual way, and I'll put it in a personal way. So this blows people's minds when I say this. I say to them, I have who I respect probably more than anybody in the world. And they'll say, who? And I say, the devil. And they're like, what? Why? Yeah. I said, you know why? Because he is all in with what he believes in. He's relentless. He's consistent, and he's committed, dude. So if you want to beat him, you need to show up, dude. And then you can flip it to like a earthly, if you want, if that makes you feel better, because 99% of success is enjoyed by 1% of the world. Champions like Jordan, myself, and the list can go on. We're warriors. We are all in. We are fighting. So you're going up against champions like us. So you can't just have, oh, you know what? Like I know we're network marketers, Jim, or me and Jordan are anyway. You know what I love? People who say stuff like this. Yeah, real. You know what? Well, the first thing they say, Jim, is there a money back guarantee? I'm at a point in my career now. If you say that to me, I'm going to go next. You're not, because I'm not partnering with people that have that mindset, because like the only person you should be asking if is the money back guarantee is the person looking back at you in the mirror, yourself. That's the only person you should ask for, and then the next thing, I love this one, Jim. I'm sure you've heard this. Like, you know what, Jim? I like what I'm seeing. I'm going to give it, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to give it 60 days. 30 days.
We'll see how it works out. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And they give them like for me, it's like those words like hope, maybe,
yeah,
like it's like they're giving themselves an out. And I love because I've said it for years, and I
yep,
don't know who said it, but it might have been my man Goggins or somebody, but somebody said it. And I was like, yeah, I was listening to the coaching because we all say that, right? Plan B. And this one champion said, that's bullcrap. He said,
y-
no, this needs to be your plan A. Because when you're saying plan B, you're already giving yourself an exit plan. Well, what if this doesn't work? No, if you're going to do something, you need to
yeah.
be all in and make it your plan A. Don't have an exit plan, you know?
I totally agree, Real. So, you've got to burn your ships. Have you heard the story about burning ships?
Yes.
And so if you're going to go in and conquer something with your team, you can't get back on the ship, right? So you go in to invade, and when the commanding officer says, "Hey," or the soldiers are asking the commanding officer, "Why do you want to burn the ships?" And he says, "Because we have two options, but really it should be one. We are going to win. If we don't, we're not going back. So we're going to fight harder if we can do that." And that brings me to my story a little bit, which I know this interview is not about me, but I love
Well,
telling the
I'd love to
story.
hear it.
I worked in the corporate world before I became an entrepreneur up until 2003. And I decided one day I wanted to leave the safety of the corporate job. I had benefits. I was making a lot of money. I was a vice president of a company. I was driving a BMW, lived in a 6-bedroom home with a pool and a tennis court.
Yeah.
Beautiful young wife, 2-year-old son, and one on the way. And I came home one day and I looked my wife in the eye as she was holding my 2-year-old son on her pregnant belly and said, "I want to quit my job." Now, not many people would have the guts to say that to a pregnant woman, but I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. You
And
could have got killed right there.
I could have been for many reasons, but she said, "You know what, Jim? Sounds like an adventure and let's do it." I decided to, instead of keeping my 6-figure income job 20 some odd years ago, I decided to cut that umbilical cord and go cold turkey from the reliance on that. And were the first 5 years tough? Yeah, it took me 5 years to make the money I used to make, but I couldn't go back easily. I got rid of the great job. I could have gone back to a job. And I personally believe if you're going to do something, like if you're going to go on a diet, you don't eat cheesecake once a week now. You don't eat it at all.
No.
You're done. You just have to be committed. And don't work out one day a week. You work out whatever the plan is, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 to some extent, whatever it is. And you need to be committed. And Real, most people are not committed to winning the game. This country is so darn easy to live in by just getting by. We really don't have people starving on the streets. Now, I know in California, there are a lot of people who live on the streets, but no one's really thin and starving, right? We all eat. So it's almost impossible to have a lousy life. You can have a lousy existence, but everyone's going to live here in this country because we're very prosperous. And the people who are at the 1% will make sure that everyone else in the 99% are taken care of. But if you want to be at the top, whatever that 1% is, because that 1% could be financially, it could be physical fitness, it could be relationships, it could be all of it, which is very hard to get that wheel to be perfect and not have any bumps in the wheel. But you have to be committed to what you do to be great. And it can be in any field, whether it's network marketing, you could be the best attorney, the best plumber. It really doesn't matter. You just have to be committed to it. And I'm going to say this. I don't necessarily think it's hard. It's hard in the beginning if you're not conditioned for it. Once you get moving along and you see the focus, there's still only 24 hours in the day. No one can work more than that. So you have to work smart and you just have to be consistent. So every day, like Real, get up early and go work out. Um, send out a card to someone through send out cards like Jordan does. I do that all the time too. I try to get out 3 to 5 a day to touch people for gratitude. Just the gratitude makes me feel good. And if I feel good and my endorphins are moving forward, then I can move forward. Stop drinking, stop taking the drugs, stop hanging out with the wrong people. And a lot of people just won't do it because we as humans, for whatever reason, love pleasure and we don't love work in general. And so you just have to get rid of some of the pleasure because it's easy. Pleasure's easy. Everything's abundant here in our country. You can go to McDonald's and get pleasure on your taste buds for under $5. But that ain't good, right? That's just not good for you. So you just have to be disciplined, Real.
Yeah, and I love what you said, and I'll just add a layer to it that I've added recently because, my goal is to help champions and to help them all. And part of the process of helping them is getting them to where you and me and people like that are. It is what it is. A lot of people, unfortunately, for whatever reason, don't have that strong mindset or that willpower yet. It's in them. They just haven't developed it yet. So one of the things because I do have that, and I used to coach people for years, me and my wife have owned 4 of our own gyms. So I've helped a lot of people with weight loss and nutrition and stuff like that. And so I was always that, that military Navy SEAL kind of coach, like you, Jim, you'd say to me, like, coach, how do I'm challenged. I keep eating bad food. What can I do? And I'd say, and I literally used to do this back in the day, Jim. I would I had a roll of duct tape and I'd pull the duct tape out and I said, just put this over your mouth.
Shut the pie hole.
Yeah. And so, but I realized that wasn't helping a lot of people.
Yeah.
So what I say now when we talk about, stopping drinking and stopping eating bad food or, going to the gym or, any of those things that we need to do to get better, I do this phrase, say, starting tomorrow, more often than not, I'm going to stop drinking. More often than not, I'm going to go to the gym. More often than not, I'm going to make better food choices. Because what I found, Jim, is the enemy, because when we do that hard stop that some of us can do,
yeah,
but not a lot. When we do that hard stop and we say, tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to stop eating sugar and I'm going to stop drinking and stop this and 100%. Well, what happens? We know what's going to happen. They'll do good tomorrow or maybe day 2, 3, maybe 2 weeks, but eventually they're going to fail. They're going to stumble, they're going to trip, and they're going to eat a bad food. Well, if we set them up with that mindset, tomorrow you're going to stop rather than tomorrow, more often than not, what happens is when they stumble, here comes the enemy. And the enemy gets, see, I told you, Jim, I told you you couldn't do this. And then all of a sudden they just go back down that road. So if they have a little bit of a leeway, I find. So my word champions is just like Jim said, just like I'm saying, whatever that looks like for you, set a goal. I don't even say tomorrow, right now. Why wait till tomorrow? Like if you're watching this or you see something and you get inspired, why do we wait? Oh, you know what? This was so fun. Goes back to my take action, right? Because take action, and on my podcast, at the end of every podcast, I think I'm going to do a book about it, Jim. Actually, I am going to do it. I have I interviewed, I think almost 100 people like Jordan and, Josh Higginbom. And I mean, probably a lot of the same people you've interviewed,
yes.
Jordan. Great. And at the end of each podcast, I ask them this question. So I'd always say, hey, champions, I got champions watching this. Jim, if you were to give my champions one action word that they could do, if they put it into action right now, not tomorrow, not next week, their life would start to change for the better. And so I got every one of these champions to give me a one action task. I'm going to do a book. I'm going to take all those actions and make it into a book.
It's interesting because I'm doing the same thing with a series of podcasts, basically compiling all of the information from similar people who've been successful And I'll give you a hint with AI today. It's a lot easier to write the book because you can have AI listen to all that podcast and put it in to a written form. So we'll talk about that offline if you'd like. So,
Wow. Yeah. Great.
hey, Rial, this has been fantastic. How can people get your book? Is it on Amazon?
Yes, it's on Amazon. It's Do You Want It? You can, it's also, the links are on all my social media. At Rail Andrews is most of my social media. You can also go to www.doyouwantittoday, take action today.com.
Today, yeah.
That'll
Yeah.
take it to you there. But, yeah, and we're really proud. In the first 6 hours, we were number one bestseller, number one new release, number one Kindle in the top 100. And I was like, I'm humbled. We were in a one category. We were number one against Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Life is a Game. I mean, I was like, what? But
Wow.
yeah, it's exploding, and I'm going to do the Audible version now. So
Great.
yeah, reach out and get it. I appreciate it. And what it is, Jim, it's called Do You Want It? And Jesus didn't die so we could be safe. He died so we could be dangerous. And if you're ready to be dangerous, it's an action step book of it's something you can use every day, that when you put these actions into action, it's the 5 Ds: discipline, dedication, drive, determination, and desire. You can be dangerous, and you can walk in your power and be all you were called to be.
And everybody, a link to Rial's book is in the description of this podcast, as well as other assets that he has offered up to you. They're just one click away. Rial, thank you. It's good to see you, buddy.
You too. Take care, Chan. Bye.